Self-determination is at the heart of our future. It means our people, the traditional custodians of each nation, deciding what's best for our own lives. It's about doing things our way, led by our communities, guided by our knowledge, language, culture, stories and values. We still need support from organisations, the workforce, and our allies, but the decisions must come from us. Every nation is different. Our needs and priorities change from place to place in this country. But when we lead, we stay true to our old ways while building a future for the next generations of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We've faced many challenges, intergenerational trauma since colonisation. The bad ripple effect has been poor health and well-being, poverty, homelessness, land dispossession, loss of language and cultural knowledge, restricted access to country to practice our traditional ways, high incarceration rates and deaths in custody, racism and discrimination, broken families, domestic violence, substance and sexual abuse, and the lasting bad impacts of the stolen generations when our children were taken away from us. These gaps are more than statistics. They reflect real, lived experiences. To close them, we must take control of our future. We know our needs, our pain, and the way forward. It's time to heal, thrive, and rebuild what was taken. This requires a lot of resources, correct people in place creating supportive strategies, working towards policy change to prevent these things from happening for our future generations. Doing it our way that honours Aboriginal culture, creating better emotional and social well-being in community, sustainable pathways for education and employment careers for all. It must involve the correct traditional custodians and cultural authorities, workforce and organisations that's Aboriginal-led, alongside allies, to help close the gap and address these issues.
To make a difference, I need to connect, to really listen and to learn. I'll research and prepare by understanding the needs of the Aboriginal community and come up with some strategies and finding resources, if we have any, before I meet. Making that first connection ASAP is crucial. It's the first step in building relationships based on trust that may take a long time to build, but I will start with purposes and meaning.
When we meet, it's about respect. Meet us where we are, whether it's on our land or in a place that feels right. You're invited into our world to share our time and stories in truth-telling. It's about real connection, not just turning up to meetings. For many of us, trust has been broken too many times. We've been promised things before, only to be let down. That's why some of our mob may not want to engage. They've been burned in the past. The country has spoken with the no vote, which now means our voices will face more challenges to reach the top of government, to influence policy change that affect our mob. So that now means us doing it all ourselves back in our community, and self-determination works. with the help of allies being proactive, with making the effort in showing up through your actions that you are different, that you will follow through in a timely manner, and that you respect our culture and our needs. It takes time, but if you're genuine, you can begin to help us heal the scars of the past. Building interpersonal relationships is everything. It starts with respect. Acknowledging country is only the first step. To truly build trust, you must understand us, ask questions, share stories, and be open. When you know who our mob are and our pain and gaps, you understand the heart of the community and the social issues we face. Set up meetings on a regular basis to talk about how we can work together in a collaborative and partnership approach. Listen and learn. And don't be afraid to suggest strategies and give indication of any resources you have to support it. Keep in mind, though, that not everyone will be this welcoming due to past wrongs, and you just have to respect that and move on. In the workplace, we must lead and govern ourselves. True self-determination means Aboriginal people, local and from other nations, working together to achieve the right outcomes. Bringing cultural and corporate knowledge, lived experience and diverse perspectives into decision-making. Including mob in governance means more than just a seat at the table. It's about genuinely engaging with us and inviting us to be part of the decisions that shape our future. The aim is for our voices to reach the top, where real change happens. When we build our own governance, we ensure our people are heard. And just like a lawyer's paid for their expertise, our time, knowledge, and leadership must be respected and paid fairly. Respect starts with recognition, and that includes proper pay. Allies, listening from a distance isn't enough. Be proactive. Educate yourselves by showing up. Attend Aboriginal community events, marches, and truth-telling sessions. Be a tourist in your own backyard. Use Google to discover what's happening locally and learn who the traditional custodians are in your area. That can also be found on the National Native Title Tribunal website. Organisations can support this by setting up a central location to navigate to, for sharing links to Aboriginal community event websites on their staff intranet, and actively promoting these events throughout the year. Encouraging attendance helps build real understanding, respect, and connection with community. Supporting Aboriginal-owned businesses is key to building sustainable futures. It helps build generational wealth and creates real opportunities for mob to thrive. It's also a way Aboriginal people are taking the lead in closing the gap. Building strong businesses that support families and communities. When our businesses succeed, it creates sustainable futures and for greater influence, opening doors to leadership and advocacy. But that starts with success on the ground. Add links to directories like Supply Nation or Kinaway on your organisation's website. Then educate your staff on its purpose and encourage them to prioritise Aboriginal-owned businesses when sourcing services. Think outside the box. Mob-owned businesses these days deliver everything from cleaning and construction to legal services. catering, and graphic design. To make your services truly for us, work with a local, emerging artist who is Aboriginal to create a piece that shares our stories and connection to country, while reflecting your organisation's vision and services. Placing this artwork meaningfully throughout your spaces not only support the artist's growth but also shows genuine respect, making your services culturally identifiable and helps our mob feel seen, valued and welcome. Employ and support Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as a core part of your workforce, not as tokens, but for sustainable careers, with development opportunities also for our young mob, such as paid internships and traineeships. Prioritise career development, fair pay that recognises cultural knowledge and colonial load, and clear pathways for leadership and growth. Support mob by offering a minimum of 2 weeks cultural leave each year for sorry business, recovery, and the ongoing challenge of navigating both Aboriginal and colonial systems. This is especially important for those working in isolation or carrying heavy cultural responsibilities. Recruit with intention. Use your locally designed artworks in all job ads and include the message, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are encouraged to apply. Once cultural safety foundations are laid, include videos or images in ads that reflect your real commitment. Job ads should also highlight access to external mentors who are Aboriginal and ensure the support is genuinely available within your organisation. Establish strong, responsive systems to address racism and lateral violence promptly. Before mob come into any roles, it needs to be a culturally safe and respectful workplace where they can thrive, free from risks of cultural harm, burnout or disempowerment. To get more engagement in your services, use real images of our people to place on all things in your organisation, from marketing campaigns to information on print or via the internet, in particular by using the traditional custodians of the country your office is located on. And if your services are national, include other nations from across the country, not just to show faces, but to share who we are, proud and strong, away from stereotypes, and this inclusion shows respect. And it's needed for our mob out in community to see those images to identify with them. Creating a culturally safe space involves more than good intentions. It requires action. This includes providing cultural safety and anti-racism training for all staff, offering self-education resources like books, giving access to attend cultural events, and hosting internal workshops that explore culture through art. It also means inviting traditional custodians of the land you're on, correct cultural authorities, workforce, and respected Aboriginal-owned educational businesses to share knowledge about culture, country, language, protocols, Aboriginal ways of working, and the ongoing impacts of colonisation to enable truth-telling. The aim is to build genuine understanding and raise staff's cultural competency across the organisation, so that when Aboriginal people enter your workplace, they feel safe, respected, and free from judgment or racism. Organisations can also register for a Reconciliation Action Plan, RAP, to help structure and drive this work But a RAP only works when the right people are in place to act on it, with good budgets and held accountable. True understanding begins with showing up, listening deeply, and walking alongside us with respect, empathy, and commitment. It's about building spaces where all people feel they belong, where our people and culture is honoured, protected, and welcomed. And we need to learn about Indigenous data sovereignty, creating a system where the data collected belongs to Aboriginal people. It's about making sure our Aboriginal communities, our peak bodies and correct governance structures have control over how our data is collected and reported in a culturally appropriate and safe way. When we control our own data, we control our own truths, free from stigma, stereotypes, and the trauma caused by statistics reported in a negative light, especially when gaps are not being closed, that can leave mob feeling hopeless. We need to report more on a strength-based approach. Too often, mainstream media distorts our realities through propaganda and misrepresentation, which not only fuels public misunderstanding, but also causes harm and stereotypes within our own communities. This was evident during the Voice campaign, where misinformation contributed to lateral violence, dividing the country and even mob against each other. By owning and telling our stories ourselves, we can present our lives, strengths, and needs with accuracy and dignity. It's about truth-telling, reclaiming our narrative, and to influence policy change so we can move forward in a way that's led by us, for us, through self-determination. We've carried these burdens too long, feeling the weight of burnout, family lost, land dispossession, and racial discrimination. This land has seen the scars of invasion, the pain of colonisation. Sovereignty was never ceded, but always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Allies, it's time for you to stand with us, to call out the injustice and help tear down the barriers and support us in self-determination. Only together can we create a world where all are treated fairly, with dignity and respect. No more prejudice, no more division. Let's stand together and create a better future in love, peace, and in unity.